So when it
Well,
comes to the relationship between a director and composer, what do you think is like the most important aspect of that relationship?
the most important aspect. Oh, actually, no, think about it. It's a very interesting question.
Probably
I
communication.
I would say the most important is the mental connection because and also I will say this because I've talked to a lot of composers who have worked with I've talked to a lot of directors who have worked with a lot of composers, and the one thing they can't stand is when the composer turns around and says, "I'm the composer. I know what you need. This is what you're going to get," type thing.
Mm,
That is the wrong attitude. You got to realize that you're working for them, so they are the boss. But what you need to be able to do is have that connection between the two of you. So if I'm working with you and I've been given the footage, and typically they give you the footage and then say, okay, what do you reckon? And with each scene, I'm thinking, okay, what music I'll put in there. But I'm thinking beyond that, I'm thinking, okay, like I said before, what reaction is the director trying to get from the audience? Because that's what it's all about. It's about getting the correct reaction from the audience. So if you want the audience to get scared, then you obviously put some scary music in there. If you want them to think one thing, you put some music in, they'll dictate them to think something else. If you don't want them to know what's going on, then silence is an excellent tool for a composer. You
mm.
just leave music out, and that's something that a lot of composers don't really think of. Which is not to put any sort of bad word on any other composers because we all got different styles in that, but silence is a very powerful tool, and if used correctly, it's a standing tool.
I think that's a great point. A great
Mm.
composer knows when and when not to use music.
I think now. Oh, geez, who was it? A friend of mine. Can't remember who it was. Someone was telling me, and we're talking about music and he said, I believe he said it was Miles Davis. I've never seen this quite personally myself, but I think he said it was Miles Davis said that a musician, a brilliant musician, knows what notes to play and what notes not to play, and it's the same with film.
Mm.
You've got to look at it and think, all right, what am I trying to do here? Is music going to benefit this particular scene or this particular moment, or will silence actually do better? Because one thing, when you put silence in a film, the audience has to start to think, okay, what's going on? And they're not being told what to think by the music. So that's where you got to think. If you look at like a movie like No Country for Old Men, right?
Mm-hmm. No
Brilliant.
music at all, huh? There was no
No,
music.
not one note, and it works wonderfully well because what it does, the tone of the scenes are set up by the characters, and you've got some powerful characters in that film. And for a composer to turn around and say, "I love the film because there was no music in it," is like weird. But yeah, it was better because there was no music in it. It
Mm.
was just amazingly well done. So yeah, silence is a big factor. So, but yeah, back to the question though, it's you need to be able to get in the head of into the head of the director and say, okay, what is he trying to do with this scene? What reactions is he trying to extract from the audience? And that's when you need to be on that wavelength. And it's not always going to happen. There's some projects I've walked away from because they're on a completely different wavelength to me. I just can't get in the head. Like there was a project, for example, where I was asked to do it. Yep, no worries. I can't remember what it's called. It's a short film. And they said, okay, we want the music like this particular film. And it was a film, It Follows, which is a horror film from a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally liked the film, hated the music, because every time the music played, it took me away from the fact I was watching a film because it was just completely wrong from
It
what
was
I saw.
distracting.
Yeah, it wasn't not supposed to be distracting. It's more like as soon as you heard the music, you're thinking you're not involved with the music in the film. The music is completely opposite to what should be played in the film. So it just was, what the hell is going on here type thing. And when he said he wanted music like that, I said, well, I personally felt that music was completely wrong for the film. So I said, maybe you look at another composer because I don't think I'm going to be able to do what you want to do. And you've got to be able to admit that if you're on a project and it's not going to work because you're not in that mindset, you've got to be able to walk away, because at the end of the day, you could be a detriment to not only that project, but to maybe future projects down the track. If someone else is talking to that director and he says, oh, no, don't use him, he didn't listen, or he doesn't understand. So, yeah, being able to get in the mindset of the director is probably the most important thing, and have that communication.